Alright, let's dive into a story that's equal parts heartbreaking and thought-provoking. Here's the thing, when I first heard about Jake Whisenant's passing, my initial reaction was shock. Not just because he was a record-setting speed climber, but because his story forces us to confront something bigger, the delicate balance between passion and risk. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is how Jake's life wasn't just about climbing. It was about pushing boundaries in a way that most of us can't even fathom. But here's the kicker: what happens when that pursuit of greatness comes at the ultimate cost? Jake Whisenant, just 30 years old, died in a climbing accident in California. And while the details are still vague, officials haven't released much beyond calling it an accident. What's clear is the impact he left behind. Bailey Moore, his lifelong friend, called it an unimaginable loss. And honestly, that phrase hits hard. It's not just about losing a climber. It's about losing someone who embodied this relentless drive to challenge limits. What many people don't realize is that climbers like Jake aren't just athletes. They're artists, philosophers, and risk-takers all rolled into one. Their sport isn't just about physical strength. It's about mental fortitude and a deep connection with nature. Now, let's talk about his achievements because they're mind-blowing. In October 2024, Jake and his partner Brant Heisel set a speed record on El Capitan's Lurking Fear route, finishing in just under 3 hours. Think about that for a second. El Capitan is a monster of a climb, a vertical granite wall that's humbled countless climbers. And Jake didn't just climb it, he raced up it. What this really suggests is that he wasn't just fast. He was efficient, calculated, and fearless. But here's where it gets deeper. Speed climbing isn't just about going fast. It's about precision, trust in your partner, and an almost meditative focus. One thing that immediately stands out is how this level of mastery requires not just physical training but a mental discipline that's borderline spiritual. What makes this even more fascinating is the context. Just 2 days before setting that record, Jake and Brant had already climbed the same route in 4 hours. That's not just dedication. That's obsession. And I don't mean that in a negative way. From my perspective, it's a testament to the human spirit's capacity to strive for something greater. But it also raises a deeper question. At what point does that drive become a liability? Climbing is inherently dangerous, and even the most experienced climbers know that one mistake can be fatal. So, when we celebrate these achievements, we also have to acknowledge the risks that come with them. Another detail I find fascinating is how Jake's legacy extends beyond his records. Bailey Moore said he was much more than a climber, and I think that's the part of his story that resonates most with me. Climbing was his medium, but his impact was about inspiring others to pursue their passions, no matter how daunting. If you take a step back and think about it, that's what makes his loss so profound. It's not just about the routes he climbed or the records he set. It's about the way he lived, fully, boldly, and unapologetically. But here's where it gets complicated. As someone who's always been drawn to stories of extreme achievement, I can't help but wonder, do we romanticize this kind of risk-taking too much? Personally, I think we do. We celebrate the triumphs but often gloss over the sacrifices. Jake's death is a stark reminder that every climb, every record, comes with a price. And while I'm in awe of what he accomplished, I also can't shake the feeling that there's a lesson here about balance. Passion is incredible, but it needs boundaries. Ambition is powerful, but it needs perspective. So, where does that leave us? Jake Whisenant's story isn't just a tragedy. It's a mirror. It forces us to ask ourselves, what are we willing to risk for the things we love? And more importantly, is it worth it? In my opinion, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But what I do know is that Jake's legacy isn't just about the climbs he completed. It's about the way he challenged us to think about our own limits. What makes this really interesting is how his story transcends climbing. It's about the human condition, the pursuit of greatness, and the cost of living life on the edge. As we wrap this up, I'm left with one final thought. Jake Whisenant's life was a testament to the power of passion, but his death is a reminder of its fragility. And maybe, just maybe, that's the balance we all need to find. So, here's my question to you. What's your edge? And how far are you willing to go to reach it? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, sometimes the greatest risks come with the greatest rewards, but they also come with the greatest costs.